In today's video, I'm going to show you the importance of making project templates and why you should be using them. Make sure to stick around to the end of this video for a free copy of my universal template that I use in every project. What's up, YouTubers, DJs, producers? You're back in the studio with me, DJ Contour, and today our video is going to go over the importance of project templates in your DAW, the importance and why you should be making it. If you found this video, make sure to hit the like, hit the subscribe. That way you're always kept up to date every time I post new videos. I'm going to be doing all kinds of videos like this, tutorials, as well as in the future I'll have a video about my beat making masterclass that's currently in the works that will be up for sale on my website. Start to finish beat making course. Project templates, let's get right into it. I'm going to take you inside Ableton. As you know, I prefer Ableton. That's just my DAW of choice. It's what I started on and what I like. But these tactics can be used in any DAW or software that you're going to be using for music production. So what the idea of a project template is laying out your base project ahead of time. So basically every time you start a new song, you're going to open up the new or your existing template and all your parts are going to be in there ready to go. So you're not writing a song and saving it and starting with that every single time. You're starting with the tools that you're going to have. So you're going to have groups and buses of every little component that you think you're going to need, or even just the tracks, so you can drag and drop your samples into those tracks and not have to make a new MIDI or audio track and then label it and then bring over your certain components. So let's go in here and I'll show you right here. So this is my blank project template. I actually just made it not too long ago. I updated it for 2021. And what you see here is we have my drums, we have my synths, my pads, my basses, sound effects, pre-master, and then this is the most important part right here, in my opinion, the bass track template. So I have a bass audio and a bass MIDI. And what these are is, in some oddball case where I'm going to need to add something to my project that I don't have in there currently, I'm just going to copy and paste one of these. So if I need to add samples, I'm going to copy and paste it. So I'll show you what my bass track is. Down here you can see I have a relay, which is a mixing and mastering gain plugin. I use a lot of the Isotope products, so this is really important for my final product. So we have this on every single channel and then an EQ on every single channel. And what that does is when you copy and paste that, you're automatically having everything you need on that channel. And then you just rename the plugins whatever you need to inside of them. So we'll go into our groups now. All of these components are in groups or a bus, depending on what you're using. So if I click on this drum bus, I know in the drums I'm going to want to kind of tie everything and smoosh everything together and make it more coherent in the mixing and mastering process. So I have a glue compressor down here and also an EQ8 on the group itself. So inside we've got a kick, we've got an 808, we've got a snare, we've got a snare 2, clap 1, clap 2, hi-hats and percussion. In the last project I realized that I didn't have a slot for a crash sound, so that's something that you can do. In your projects, they should be ever evolving. So you're going to work on things and your style might change or tweak a little bit, so should your template. That way every time you open it up, it has everything you need in there and you don't have to monkey around trying to grab and drag and drop and looking for stuff. So if you open up this on my kick, it's a little different because I know towards the mixing process I'm going to add some extra stuff to the kick chain. So I have my relay and my EQ, but I also have a neutron on here because once I hit the mixing stage, I know that I'm going to be doing demasking with the 808 and I'm going to be doing some exciting and just adding some saturation to that kick. So I know at some point I will need that plugin, so have it stored on there. And then the 808, it's the same thing. I have my sampler ready to go, so all I had to do is drag my sample into my sampler and then I can start playing. And then I have my relay, my EQ. On this one, I know that since I'm using a sampler, I need to verify what key my samples are coming through in and then tune it to my sampler in the keyboard. So I have the tuner and then as well as a neutron for the same reason as the kick. Snare, this is a relay and the EQ. So you get the point on that. you take your track and then you set up everything on it that you think you might need, and then it's ready to go. So all you have to do is say, okay, I want my kick now. So all you got to do is go into your sample pack and drag a kick drum on there, and then you're done. It's ready to go. So like here, I'll grab my kick drum, some random kick drum. Here we go. So I put it on the kick channel, and now, boom. I don't have to do anything to that. It's already there. It's already labeled. I'm not creating an audio clip, labeling it, adding relay, adding an EQ, adding a neutron. All you got to do is you just drag your sample on there. Boom, you're done. You can start laying out your samples. So in the synths, mostly down here is all MIDI stuff. My drums are usually all audio, and down in the synths and pads and basses, that's all MIDI. So this is going to differ between my project and yours because depending on the sounds you like and the plugins you have, or if you'll just be using Ableton stock plugins, that's all going to change depending on your personal project. So in here, in my synth lead, I have a contact, which I believe is an output synth. And then my vocal lead, it's another contact. I have exhale. My string lead, I have analog strings. My brass lead, I have analog brass and winds. All of those are preloaded, so the second I need to do anything, all I have to do is just turn it on, go in, and I can start playing. It makes it so much more convenient. So if I open this up, it's going to take a second, but once I open this plugin, there we go. Now I'm already in. I have a bass patch in there, so all I have to do is start playing on the keyboard, and boom, I'm making a melody. I'm not sifting through sounds or loading the instrument, which is going to take some time when it's a plugin. So you're already, each track you're doing, you're saving, let's say, 1 minute. So if your track has 60 layers, you've already saved yourself an hour by the time you've done that in your entire project. So we go down into my pads, same thing. I've got an FM8 on one pad and then a massive on the other, just in case I decide I want this type or this type of pad. Basses, it's the same thing. I've got an output, I think, FM8, massive, and then an operator for my sub bass. It's really, really important because now all I have to do is start playing, drag a MIDI clip, boom, done. My sound effects are a mixture of audio and MIDI. So these two here, the white noise fade and build, are actually MIDI tracks. They're actually a white noise build effect, a rack that I put together. That way, once again, it's saving me time. So I know I'm going to have a white noise build and fade pretty much in every song. So I put this little instrument together that consists of an operator, an EQ8, and an auto filter. And what that does is now all I have to do is draw my MIDI clip and modulate the auto filter. Done. No more. Before I would have to open the track, then I would have to open an operator, then I'd have to open an EQ, then an auto filter, and then set everything up and then tweak the filters. Now I come in, if you look down here, my patch is already made, so it's a white noise patch. Then I go over here, my EQ is already set up to the high pass that I want. My auto filter is already ready, so all I have to do is click show automation and then automate it. Done. It saves me 5-10 minutes of messing around, which is huge. So on these two tracks, I've already saved 20 minutes of work. This as well. This is a Synthrise patch that I put in from Contact. So it's a same thing, but it's another time where I'd have to create the track and load in a Contact player and then load the instrument and then find the sound I want. So it's just the little things like that that slowly add up. It's not really going to make your songs better per se, but it's going to make your workflow smoother and easier so you can spend more time focusing on the actual track than putting the project together. Then down here I have, these are some audio tracks. So if I have a downlift or sample or a random sound effect, I got a couple spots for those. Now, how this is all routed, when I started playing, I would route everything right to the master. And I didn't know any better. Now what I have is a pre-master setup. So what I'll do is, you see everything is routed, all the instruments are routed to the group here. So if I open this kick, it's routed to the drum bus, okay? And then the drum bus is routed to this pre-master track. And what that's doing is I'm separating the mixing and mastering process because I mix and master in the project. I stopped bouncing because, once again, I'm wasting so much time organizing and bouncing files and color coding and adding all the plugins on everything. So what I did is I figured out how to speed up my CPU. Now I can mix and master in my project. So on my master, or my mix rather, my pre-master, I have a Neutron visual mixer. And then I have my tonal balance control and my insight and a spectrum. So all of these are tools that I'm going to use in the mixing process. This one being the most important. Actually, all three of these the most important. So now all I would have to do is open the Neutron Visual Mixer, start the Mix Assistant, boom, I'm mixing. And then I can do everything right in here. And now the benefit of that is I'm not clogging up my master with all my mixing stuff. So my master chain is my master chain. It's not my mixing and mastering chain. Down here, what I have, these are sends and returns. So I have 3 reverbs. This is pretty important also for saving time, where I have a short reverb, a medium reverb, and a long reverb. And the idea behind that is, say I have a snare sample in here. These are all my sends right here. This is the return track. These are the sends. So say it's a snare hit, so I know I'm going to want a short, quick reverb. And what I'll do, instead of having to drag a reverb on here and tweak it, all I do is I drag this fader up, boom, now my snare has reverb because it's already preset to my sound that I want. And then all I'd have to do at the end, once I mash them all together, so I'll have the snare, another snare probably, a clap, and maybe even the hi-hats. And then all I have to do, the only thing, is just come in here and EQ my hi-hats, or my reverb rather, to the sound that I want, and then that's done. So in turn, we're saving CPU because I don't have a reverb on each drum track or each track that I need, and it's ease of use. Everything's routed through this one, and then I can EQ one reverb, and then it glues it all together. Makes it a lot more convenient. So that I have pretty much the same thing on a short reverb, but the only difference is we have a short decay time. Then the medium, we have a slightly longer, 2 seconds. And then the reverb the long reverb, we have a 5-second delay time. So basically, depending on what component I'm going to use for the reverb, will just decide which reverb I'm going to use. And then also what I have down here is a delay as well. The delay will be any project. So if I want to add delay to a vocal or a synth patch or something like that, all I have to do is come in here and then drag it up. So I just got to drag it up till my liking, and then might have to make some little tweaks, but I usually like the 4-on-4. And then boom, I have the delay on there. So it makes everything a lot easier. You're saving CPU, you're making your life easier, you're not dragging and searching for stuff all the time. That's really, really important. And then back here to the bass templates. So say I filled up, and like I told you before, I need a crash. So all I would have to do is say, I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to say Option Drag, bring it up into my drum group. Boom. Now I'm going to rename this Crash. Done. It's so easy. Now all I have to do, if I want to, since I have to rename this, I'll go into my relay and I'll rename this Crash. And now, once I recolor it, bring this down here, boom. I have a whole new template made up, and all I have to do is just Command save that, and then it's done. So now it's got all the plugins I need on it. It's got the EQ. Same thing with the MIDI. If I need to make a synth, just either copy paste or Option drag it into wherever you want, recolor it, rename it, and then it's done. And then you could put whatever you want on it. So if you forgot to add something to your master template, then you slowly just piece things together. If you find something you're not using, say I'm not using the sound effects slot 2, just delete it, resave it, and then that's one space you don't have to delete when you get into your mixing and mastering process. And then down here, I don't have it set up, but I need to drag my ozone onto my master. So we can go into our plugins here, if I can find it, and we'll type in ozone, and boom, drag that onto my master. Now I have ozone on my master. Now my project's basically complete for what I want. So what I'll do here is I will give you a quick walkthrough, just an idea of how to get yours started. So I'm going to open a new project here, and I'll show you kind of what I did. And I'll do it for in the box, that way you're not trying to find these plugins that I have. So I'm going to switch over to our arrangement view here, and what we're going to do is we're going to delete these. And like I said, depending on your project, if you like audio, if you like MIDI, this is going to be where yours differs. So let's just say here we have our first track. So let's make our template for the track. So let's go in here, say you know you're going to want, for instance, an EQ and a compressor. Let's just say that. Okay. So let's go into our audio effects. We're going to grab an EQ8, drag it on. So now we have that. And then let's drag our compressor on there. Drag it on. Okay, now you have the two components that you know you're going to want. So there's your template. And say you're going to want 5 tracks in your drum group. So you're going to copy paste it 5 times or 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now here's your drum group. And then all you have to do is say, let's rename this one kick. There's your kick drum template. Snare. There's your snare drum template. Cymbals, or let's just say hi-hats. There's your hi-hats. And then we want clap. There's your clap. And then Command R, we're going to do, let's just say cymbals. Boom. And then all you have to do is collapse all these. Select them all. Command G. Now you have your drum group. Simple as that. So now you're less congested because all your drums are in this single little group, and when you need to, you open it up. So you don't have 55 tracks taking up your entire screen. So it opens up real estate. It keeps you more organized. Same thing with MIDI. So let's drop a MIDI track in here. Say you want, you know you're going to want an operator and an EQ. Okay. So let's go into instruments and let's drag an operator. Boom. Operator. Audio effects. EQ. Boom. So this is going to be, let's just say that's your sub bass, for instance. So let's rename it sub bass. Done. It's as simple as that. For your sends and returns, you can add as many as you want. So if you need 4 reverbs, 2 delays, 2 compressors, it's all right here. So it gives you a reverb and a delay from stock. I didn't really care for those. I kind of rebuilt them myself, so I deleted them and said insert a return track. Okay, so now I know I'm going to want a reverb. So I drag my reverb on it. Okay, and then the EQ. Okay, so let's go in here and grab our EQ8. Now we have our return track for our reverb. So that knob shows up here. So if I want to add reverb to anything, you can just turn that knob up or turn it down and tweak it. And then you come in here, you tweak your sound and your length. So say you want a 2-second delay, there you go. And then you want it 100% wet, there you go. And then for your EQ, if you know it's going to be simply for hi-hats or something, then you can throw a low pass on there, or a high pass rather. High pass it up to 1,000, 1,500 or whatever, and boom, now it's set up. So if that makes sense for you, I'd like to see what you guys got. Make sure you comment below, send screenshots, whatever you need to do. Tell me if this project helped you and helped streamline your workflow. And also hit the link below if you want to download a free copy of the project I showed you before with everything in it, all routed and everything. Make sure to hit that link, and basically it'll just be the blank project. It won't have any plugins in it other than maybe the EQs and such. That way you can start adding your synths or your basses or your drum machines, whatever, to that, and dragging your audio samples and things like that. So make sure to hit the like, subscribe if you like this video. If you didn't like it, tell me why. I'd like to work with you, get some better videos out for you. But otherwise, hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll catch you next time.